What's good, everybody? My name is Valor, and welcome back to the Armory. And if you know me, you know that I've avoided the Elite 2.0 line for quite a long time. Especially since it started coming out and we saw that a lot of the time, the Elite 2.0 blasters were glued together, they were clipped together, or they were just straight up reshells of the Alpha Strike stuff, which is just not good for the consumer. Because for one, there are no O-rings on a lot of the Springer blasters, and for two, plastic leaf springs. I hate those things. But Hasbro has given us a little glimmer of hope here and there with things like the Moto Blitz. And this is sort of a follow-up to that in the form of a Striphoid type platform. This is the StormCharge. It is a Striphoid semi-auto flywheel blaster that comes with some nice little attachments, just like the battle camo version of the Strife, and has some really good promise when it comes to modifications, because if you look on the side here, there's a lot of screw holes on here. Up at the front, we've got the modulus style silencer, suppressor, tactical barrel attachment. Though this is a slight remold, it has a little bit more texture on the plastic, including some ribbing on the dark blue parts, and that sort of tiger stripey camo on the lighter blue. Up at the front, nice and flat, which is, when I first saw this, I thought it was kind of odd, but it is what it is. You got yourself a nice barrel lug, and you do have the little locking nub on the bottom, which I've seen a lot of blasters recently omit that, and it kind of sucks because a lot of the old N-Strike barrel attachments use that little nub with a spring-loaded detent to make sure it wouldn't twist off. So it is very nice that Hasbro has included that. Good on you, Hasbro engineers. Top of the thing, you got a carry handle that has a peep sight through the middle, which whenever we first saw the picture of this that leaked, it looked a little bit odd, but my first thought was it's where the flywheels are, which they are partially, but there's also that sight on top. Though just because it has it doesn't mean it's particularly useful. At least if you're someone like me, you can't physically get your eye low enough to be able to even see through that unless you're holding it out as a pistol. On the side, there is a little bit of a sunken in side rail with these kind of guards on the side, which I thought was weird. But thinking about it, it's actually kind of smart for Nerf attachments, because those rails will kind of keep the clamp on your attachments, cinched in. It'll actually keep lights and stuff from coming off. That is, if you have any of the modulus light attachments, which Hasbro hasn't printed those things in a long time, so it's kind of hard to get your hands on them unless you thrift them or specifically buy them from a place like Blaster Barn or whatever. And on the back, you've got that same very short modulus stock, which at least is very solid, but it's very short, but at least it's molded in that really nice teal color that has been being used on these Wild Edition Elite 2.0 blasters. And on the opposite side, not the side that would obviously be facing outward in the package, you've got your battery box, which does stick out a little bit, holds 4 AA's, and you got your motor covers and your jam door, which is okay. A very nice thing about this blaster, which matches the Moto Blitz, is the fact that the release is a paddle style, which is very reminiscent of what we usually put on the Strifes in the hobby. Included is a 10-round mag, which is kind of flimsy actually compared to Nerf mags I've had in the past. You can see is squishing in quite severely. For those concerned about mag compatibility, here is an 18-round Firefly mag. Seats in just fine. No sort of rattle or anything. It is a little bit stiff. This blaster will not really drop mags that easily. It won't drop mags freely unless they're heavier, like the ones with the Firefly battery packs on them, or drums. Which, speaking of drums, 25-rounder. Seats in just fine, perfect for HVZ. Now, where our party comes to the end is the Titan drum will not seat in. That's because the mag flare is slightly too long, so this thing is a no-go for this blaster. Now, obviously, for barrels, you got all the choice in the world when it comes to random barrel attachments. And the stock, since it's a standard N-Strike stock attachment point, Raider stock. It's not exactly a match for the blue, but it's close enough. And, fully extended, it is the perfect length for someone as tall as me. I'm about 6 feet tall, decent arm span, but this is super, super comfortable. Now, let's talk about something, because with the attachments off, doesn't this resemble something? This looks a lot like a rapid pistol, which is what the hobby is called whenever you take a rapid strike, which is normally a rifle-sized platform, chop it off right in front of the flywheel cage, and then remove the built-in extending stock to make like a little machine pistol thing. That is very, very familiar to what this is. So either the designers saw that and wanted to make a blaster kind of like it or something, but you know, it is very odd and kind of cool when you think about it. I'm sure that the hobby will create auto kits for this thing within like a month. And as it turns out, as this video drops, Buffdaddy Nerf has already released his own flywheel cage for this, which is just a slight modification of the turbine cage. Something I didn't point out initially is the fact that the orange parts on this blaster aren't exactly the same orange that we're used to. They're more of a red orange as compared to the, you know, nice, bright, you know, safety orange that we're used to on Nerf blasters. But I think that's just to go with the Wild Edition coloring. I haven't looked at the Hammershot kind of reshell clone thing that's in the Wild Edition line. It's something to keep in mind if you're trying to find a filament to match, which, you know, some might like it, some might not for paint jobs and stuff. Now, we're not even going to bother with stock numbers or anything, even though I did put some batteries in this to rev it up and, you know, listen to it. It does sound very nice and balanced, and it does rev decently quickly. But all stock flywheelers from Hasbro, at least, are relatively the same. So we're going to get over to the workbench and we're going to pop this thing open. All right, got the attachments off, got the mag out and everything. Take this apart. We need to take out the batteries because I don't feel like dealing with shorting out my batteries and messing them up. Good old Duracells. And these are the higher quality ones, which is kind of nice. That probably explains why the sound of it was so smooth. Like, it had a little bit extra power. But I also think that the better flywheel stuff is to do with the fact that a certain person is working for Hasbro now, so. Nope. Now, one big concern I have for getting this thing apart is, see that there? There's no seam there. So that means that these are external and they're either glued or clipped on. Fortunately, these screws all look to be about the same size. I think these shorter ones are from the rail. Oh, looks like I forgot a screw. There. And yep, there's where I was nervous. Let's see if I can find a spudger. Alright, those pieces up at the front are separate pieces, which is kind of nice from the outside. I couldn't find a spudger, but I did find a guitar pick. Now hopefully these are, well, that part is coming up. Thing is, yeah, it's clipped. It's definitely clipped. Now I don't want to mar up the finish of the plastic, so I'm gonna have to be careful. I've returned with a tiny screwdriver so I can hopefully push those clips in. But I am damaging the plastic around there pretty severely. I wish I had a really nice blade to be able to just cut straight down this, but yeah, that is not boding well for modification. It can be done, but yeah, you might want to put a grip sleeve or something over that after you're done, because holy crap. Yeah, that is... Oh! I ended up breaking a clip. No wonder. These up at the top seem to be the ones you want to push down first, and then the bottom. Wish I'd known that, but Hasbro had to use their clip bull crap. Hopefully that it doesn't completely ruin it, but you know, it is what it is. And after I'm done modifying this eventually, maybe I'll just glue this, or yeah, that's the plan. Probably I'm going to take this, cut it straight down the middle, which will be a little bit difficult, but you know, if I have to, that's what I'm gonna do. My kingdom for a second guitar pick. Okay, the top seems to be stuck into it, so the bottom must be the same sort of... Yeah. There's that there. Oh, and there's that piece of the clip that broke. Thank you, Hasbro. Okay, that went a whole lot smoother. That worked a whole lot better. At least it's not glued. Because if it was actually glued, I would have just given up and then probably returned this. Actually, I couldn't because I damaged the plastic, because, God. I mean, if it were actually glued, then, you know. Let's see if I can wedge this screwdriver in there. Push down. And gently pry. Okay. Same on the other side. I can see the clip. It's very, very faint in this little crack, but I can see it. Yeah, I have no idea where my nice spudders are. See if we can... Yeah, that's not... Yeah, that's not good. Okay. Push in with the blade, maybe? There we go. The key is the blade, because the blade can actually grip. Sliding the guitar pick closer to the clip to get a little more pressure on the plastic. Holy crap! I think there's 3 clips on this thing. Ah, there we go. And thankfully, I did not stab myself. Yeah, that's not blood. That's wood stain. Yeah, look at that. Clips all over the shop. Yep, and it was 3. One here, and then the other one where the where this is actually clipping into it instead of just providing a little bit of friction. Oh crap! And there's screws hiding underneath the clips. Because screw you, I guess. Let's get this thing apart. Okay, now we can get this thing actually properly apart. There you go. There's the jam door, there's the ribs for the motors, because the motors on this are facing up instead of towards the other side of the shell. So, modifying this, gonna have to trim all those out. And, you know, here we are. It's about what you would expect from a modern Hasbro blaster. Got the cheap little wires, which are fine for these weak motors. You know, 43.5 mil spacing on the motors and everything. Plenty of space inside. This battery tray does protrude out, so, you know. Though I think that there's enough room in here. Oh, look, looks like they're using white lithium grease on the trigger, which normally they're just using like silicone grease or something, but oh, interesting. But it looks like there's plenty of room in here for an auto kit. So that is the biggest hope for this. Since it already looks like a rapid pistol, might as well make it behave like one. And Buffdaddy already has a cage out for this. It's a modified version of the turbine cage, which thankfully, like, if nothing else, at least Hasbro's using the same geometry in a lot of blasters like they did with the Strife. So, all in all, a lot better than the Phoenix. At least this you can actually get into. It is what it is. I am excited for what comes for this blaster, but yeah, those clips really sucked. At least now we know exactly where the clips are, so we know how exactly to get those clips out without damaging the blaster like I did. And there are still a few small nicks, but I can at least polish those away with a little bit of sandpaper. But yeah, it is what we expected it to be, really. It's just a Strifeoid style blaster, which isn't a bad thing. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, look, another Strife, you know, style blaster. Like, what's wrong with that? Semi-auto flywheelers are great, especially if you're in a competitive scene where if you are wanting to rev this up to, you know, full-on 200 FPS with like something like a Banshee cage, having something this compact, the only thing that would make it more compact if it were, you know, cut down to talons or was a grip-fed thing, but Hasbro doesn't do short darts, at least not yet, which I don't think they will ever, to be honest, but yeah, I would love to be proven wrong on that point. By the way, Hasbro, please move to half darts. They are far superior. But that's it for me for today. I would like to thank you for watching all the way to the end. And again, big thanks to the patrons that are scrolling on the screen right now. Without your guys' support, I wouldn't be able to do this. And if you want to join the leagues of my patron armorers, there will be a link down below. Starting at $1 a month, you can get access to the patron-only Discord server, help the channel out, all that jazz, get your name in the credits here at the end. And as ever, my name is Valor. Thanks for watching.